Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden treasures that might be sitting right in your pocket change. If you love rare coins, American history,
First
or
up,
the excitement, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny without a mint mark, one of the most unique and historically significant pennies in American numismatics. Unlike most other Lincoln pennies, this coin was made of steel instead of copper, which makes it instantly recognizable and a favorite among collectors. Even in extra fine condition with some scratches, it remains a popular collectible and has notable value in today's market. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 and continued until 1958, honoring President Abraham Lincoln with his portrait on the front and two wheat stalks on the reverse. The 1943 steel penny stands out because it was produced during World War II, when copper was in short supply and reserved for the military. To conserve copper, the U.S. Mint struck pennies from zinc-coated steel. This one-year change created one of the most unusual and well-known coins in American history. A 1943 steel penny without a mint mark indicates that it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins from Philadelphia do not carry a letter under the date, unlike those from Denver or San Francisco. Philadelphia produced the largest number of steel pennies that year, making the no mint mark version the most common of the 1943 steel cents. Despite this, steel pennies remain highly collectible due to their unique composition and historical story. The metal composition of the 1943 steel penny is primarily steel with a thin zinc coating. Over time, many steel pennies developed scratches, discoloration, or small areas where the zinc coating wore off, exposing the steel underneath. This can lead to rust if the coin is not stored properly. Collectors value coins in extra fine condition, as these retain almost all of their original design details while showing only minor wear and surface marks. In extra fine condition, a 1943 steel penny shows sharp details on Lincoln's portrait, including clear facial features and hair detail, while the wheat stalks on the reverse are well defined, with only slight flattening at the highest points. Some light scratches are typical and do not significantly reduce the coin's value, especially when the overall strike and design remain crisp. Now, let's discuss value in today's market. A 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition with some scratches generally commands a modest premium compared to lower-grade steel pennies. Most examples sell for approximately $2 to $5, depending on eye appeal, the evenness of the zinc coating, and the severity of any scratches or surface marks. Coins with fewer scratches and more even toning are usually valued higher, while coins with noticeable corrosion or damage may sell closer to the lower end. It is important to note that while steel pennies were produced in huge quantities, their unique composition and the one-year-only production make them historically significant. Collectors often seek steel pennies to complete Lincoln penny collections or to own a piece of World War II history. Despite their common status, coins in higher grades, like extra fine, are less frequently encountered, which adds to their appeal. Collectors should be careful to avoid cleaning steel pennies, as aggressive cleaning can remove the zinc coating and lead to rust, which significantly decreases value. Coins should be stored in a dry environment and preferably in protective holders to prevent further wear or oxidation. Steel pennies are magnetic, which makes it easy to distinguish them from regular copper pennies, and this property also helps detect rare accidental copper 1943 pennies, which are extremely valuable. Some 1943 steel pennies can be worth thousands of dollars if they are the rare Copper Era variety, but standard zinc-coated steel pennies like this one remain popular primarily for their historical interest and collectible nature rather than extreme market value. Even with scratches, an extra-fine steel penny tells a story about a unique moment in American history and is a prized addition to any collection. First up today, we are talking about one of the most interesting and widely searched American coins, the 1944 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. This small copper coin may look ordinary at first glance, but it carries an important story from American history and still attracts collectors today, even when the coin is damaged or heavily circulated. The 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny was minted during the final years of World War II, a time when the United States was recovering from material shortages caused by the war. In 1943, pennies were made of steel to save copper for military use, but in 1944, the U.S. Mint returned to using a copper alloy made mostly from recycled military shell casings. A 1944 wheat penny without a mint mark means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia coins do not carry a letter below the date, unlike Denver coins which have a D mint mark or San Francisco coins which have an S. Millions of 1944 pennies were produced in Philadelphia, making this version quite common compared to other rare U.S. coins. Now, let's talk about value in today's market, especially when the coin is in damaged condition. Damage can include heavy wear, scratches, dents, corrosion, discoloration, or cleaning marks. When a coin is damaged, its collector value is usually lower than a coin in good or uncirculated condition. For a normal 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark and visible damage, the value today is generally very low. Most damaged examples are worth only a few cents above face value, typically between 5 cents and 50 cents, depending on how bad the damage is and whether the coin still has clear details. However, even damaged coins can sometimes be worth more if they have something unusual about them. Collectors always look closely at old pennies for rare errors or special characteristics. One of the most famous and valuable varieties connected to the 1944 penny is the steel error penny. A very small number of 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel blanks from 1943. These steel pennies are extremely rare and valuable. Even if such a coin shows damage or wear, it can still be worth thousands of dollars if it is authentic. Other factors that can increase value include double die errors, off-center strikes, or unusual minting mistakes. These types of errors are rare, and most 1944 pennies do not have them. Still, it is always a good idea to examine a coin carefully or have it checked by a professional if something looks unusual. Color can also play a role in value. Lincoln Wheat pennies are usually classified as red, red-brown, or brown. Most damaged and circulated 1944 pennies fall into the brown category, which is the least valuable. Red pennies, which retain much of their original copper color, are worth more, but these are usually found only in high-grade condition, not damaged ones. Next up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny with D mint mark, a coin that is instantly recognizable because it was made of steel instead of the usual copper. This unique coin comes from a very special moment in American history, during World War II. Even in good condition, with some scratches, it remains a popular collectible and has steady value in today's coin market. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series was introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln and continued until 1958. Normally, these pennies were made of copper, but in 1943, copper was needed for the war effort. To conserve copper, the U.S. Mint produced pennies from steel coated with zinc. This one-year change created a very unusual and historically significant coin. Collectors today prize steel pennies for their story as much as for their design. A 1943 steel penny with D mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint. The small letter D appears below the date on the front of the coin. While Philadelphia produced the largest number of steel pennies in 1943, the Denver Mint also struck millions. Because of the mint mark and condition, collectors often pay attention to these pennies when completing date and mint sets. The D mint mark version is slightly less common than the Philadelphia no mint mark version, adding a small extra collector interest. The 1943 steel penny is composed primarily of steel with a thin zinc coating. Over time, the zinc layer can wear off, exposing the steel beneath. This often results in scratches, dark spots, or even rust if the coin is not stored properly. Despite this, coins in good condition still display most of the design details, including Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the wheat stalks on the reverse, making them desirable to collectors. In good condition, a 1943 steel penny shows noticeable wear. Lincoln's portrait has some flattening on the highest points, and the wheat stalks are worn but still identifiable. The date and mint mark remain readable, and light scratches from circulation are expected. Even with scratches, coins in good condition are much more collectible than heavily worn or corroded examples. Now let's discuss value in today's market. A 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny with D mint mark in good condition with some scratches generally sells for around 50 cents to $2. Coins with better eye appeal, fewer scratches, and more even zinc coating are valued higher, while coins with noticeable rust or heavy damage are worth closer to the lower end. The coin's value comes primarily from its historical significance and collector demand, rather than rarity, as millions of steel pennies were produced in 1943. It's important to remember that steel pennies are magnetic, which makes them easy to distinguish from regular copper pennies. This also helps collectors identify rare 1943 copper era pennies, which are extremely valuable. However, the standard zinc-coated steel pennies like this one are common, and their appeal lies in their unique composition, wartime story, and collectability. Collectors should avoid cleaning steel pennies, as cleaning can remove the zinc coating and leave the steel vulnerable to rust. Storing the coin in a dry environment and using protective holders will help preserve its condition and prevent further wear. Even with scratches, a well-preserved steel penny tells a unique story about life in the United States during World War II. Next up, the 1937 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, a classic American coin that many collectors still enjoy searching for. Even though this penny is not considered rare, it represents an important era in United States history and continues to have value in today's coin market, especially when found in very fine condition, even with some scratches. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 and continued until 1958. These coins were designed to honor President Abraham Lincoln and became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. The front of the coin features Lincoln's portrait, while the back shows two wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and agriculture. The year 1937 falls during the later part of the Great Depression, making coins from this period historically meaningful. A 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins produced in Philadelphia do not carry a letter below the date, unlike those from Denver or San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced a very large number of pennies in 1937, which makes this coin quite common compared to earlier dates in the wheat penny series. The metal composition of the 1937 wheat penny is mostly copper, mixed with small amounts of tin and zinc. Over time, copper coins naturally darken, and most circulated examples today appear brown or dark brown in color. Because these coins were heavily used in everyday transactions, many surviving pieces show wear, scratches, and surface marks. When a coin is described as being in very fine condition, it means that it shows moderate wear but still retains strong detail. On a very fine 1937 wheat penny, Lincoln's facial features remain clear, with visible hair detail and a well-defined profile. The wheat stalks on the reverse are still strong, and the lettering around the coin is sharp and readable. Some scratches are normal at this grade, especially light scratches caused by years of circulation. Now let's talk about value in today's market. A 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition with some scratches generally has a modest value. Most examples fall within a price range of approximately 35 cents to $1. Coins with better eye appeal, fewer scratches, and even color may sell toward the higher end of this range, while coins with heavier scratches or dull surfaces usually sell for less. Color also affects value. Most circulated 1937 pennies are brown, which is the most common color classification. Red-brown examples may bring a small premium, while fully red coins are typically found only in uncirculated grades and can be worth several dollars or more. However, scratches often reduce the chance of a coin being classified as red, even if some original color remains. It is important to understand that this coin's value does not come from rarity, but from collector demand and historical interest. The 1937 wheat penny is often collected as part of a complete wheat penny set, and many collectors enjoy owning coins from the pre-World War II era. Because of this steady demand, the coin remains collectible despite its common status. Next up today, we are going to discuss the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny with an S mint mark, a coin that is one of the most unique in American history. Unlike most other Lincoln pennies, this one was made from steel instead of copper due to World War II. Even in dirty condition with some scratches, this coin remains a popular collectible and holds historical significance for coin enthusiasts. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series was introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln and continued until 1958. Typically, these pennies were made of copper, but in 1943, copper was needed for military purposes. To save copper, the U.S. Mint produced pennies from steel coated with zinc. This one-year change makes the 1943 steel penny an iconic and highly recognized coin. Collectors today prize it for its historical context as well as its design. A 1943 steel penny with an S mint mark indicates it was minted at the San Francisco Mint. The small letter S appears below the date on the front of the coin. The San Francisco Mint produced fewer steel pennies than Philadelphia and Denver, which gives this mint mark slightly more interest for collectors. Even so, millions of S-mint steel pennies were struck, making it a common coin that is still highly collectible due to its composition and historical story. The 1943 steel penny is made primarily of steel with a thin zinc coating. Over time, the zinc layer can wear off, exposing the steel underneath. This often results in scratches, dark spots, or even rust, especially if the coin has been in circulation or poorly stored. A coin in dirty condition may have accumulated grime or discoloration, which affects its appearance but does not eliminate its historical or collectible value. When a coin is described as being in dirty condition, it means there is noticeable dirt or surface discoloration covering parts of the coin. Despite this, the main design elements are still visible. On a 1943 S steel penny in dirty condition, Lincoln's portrait is recognizable but may appear worn, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are visible but less defined. The date and mint mark are still readable, which is essential for collectors. Now let's discuss value in today's market. A 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny with an S mint mark in dirty condition with some scratches generally sells for about 25 cents to $1. Coins with less dirt, minimal scratches, and more even zinc coating can be valued higher, while coins with rust or heavy surface damage may be worth less. The coin's value comes primarily from its historical significance and demand among collectors rather than rarity, as millions of steel pennies were minted in 1943. Steel pennies are magnetic, which makes them easy to distinguish from regular copper pennies. This property also helps collectors detect rare 1943 copper-era pennies, which are extremely valuable. However, the standard zinc-coated steel pennies, even in dirty condition, remain a common collectible. Their appeal lies in their unique composition, historical context, and the story they tell about life in the United States during World War II. Collectors should avoid cleaning steel pennies with abrasive methods, as cleaning can remove the protective zinc coating and expose the steel underneath, leading to rust. Proper storage in a dry environment and in protective holders will help preserve the coin and prevent further damage. Even in dirty condition, a steel penny represents a fascinating piece of history and a collectible addition to a Lincoln penny collection. While 1943 steel pennies were produced in massive quantities, coins in decent condition, even if dirty, are less common than heavily circulated and damaged examples. Collectors often seek steel pennies to complete date and mint mark sets or to own a piece of wartime American history. Despite its modest monetary value, the 1943 steel penny remains a coin of interest for enthusiasts. Next up, the 1938 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark. This coin may appear simple, but it represents the final chapter of an iconic coin series and still holds steady interest among collectors in today's market, even when found in fine condition with some scratches. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 and ran until 1958, making it one of the longest-running and most recognizable U.S. coin designs. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse displays two wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and agriculture. The year 1938 is especially meaningful because it was the last year the wheat penny design was produced before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. A 1938 wheat penny with a D mint mark means the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The small letter D appears below the date on the front of the coin. Compared to Philadelphia issues with no mint mark, Denver minted coins from some years had lower production numbers, which can add slightly more collector interest. However, the 1938 D wheat penny was still produced in large quantities, so it is not considered a rare coin. The coin is made primarily of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. Over time, copper pennies naturally darken and develop a brown tone, especially when they have been in circulation for many years. Most 1938 D wheat pennies found today show signs of wear, small scratches, and surface marks, which is normal for a coin that is more than 80 years old. When we talk about fine condition, it means the coin has moderate wear but still shows clear details. Lincoln's portrait will be worn, especially on the hair and cheek, but his facial features remain visible. The date and mint mark are clear and readable, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are worn but still recognizable. Some scratches are expected in this grade, especially light scratches caused by circulation over many decades. Now let's discuss value in today's market. A 1938 Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark in fine condition with some scratches generally has a modest value. In most cases, this coin is worth approximately 25 cents to 75 cents. Coins with better eye appeal, fewer scratches, and more even color may reach closer to $1, while heavily scratched or unattractive examples may be worth closer to the lower end of the range. Color also plays a role in determining value. Most circulated examples fall into the brown category, which is the most common and least valuable. Red-brown coins can sometimes sell for slightly more, while fully red examples are usually found only in higher grades and can be worth several dollars or more. However, scratched coins are rarely classified as red since circulation wear usually removes the original mint color. It is important to note that 1938 D wheat pennies are mainly collected as part of complete wheat penny sets. Collectors who try to build date and mint mark collections often need this coin even though it is not rare. Because of this steady demand, the coin maintains a small premium over face value despite its common status. Some collectors also look for mint errors or unusual varieties. While errors like doubled dies or off-center strikes can increase value significantly, they are very uncommon. Most 1938 D wheat pennies do not have such features, and scratched coins without errors remain standard collectible pieces rather than high-value coins.
Next up, the 1958 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, a coin that represents the final year of the wheat penny series in the United States. Even though it is a common coin, it still holds interest for collectors, especially when found in extra fine condition with some scratches. Coins like this one are important because they mark the end of nearly 50 years of Lincoln wheat pennies. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series was introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln and continued until 1958. These coins feature Lincoln's portrait on the front and two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and agriculture. By 1958, these pennies had been in circulation for decades, and millions were being produced and used daily. As a result, surviving coins from this year can vary in condition, with some showing minor scratches or wear, even in higher grades. A 1958 wheat penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a letter under the date. The absence of a mint mark indicates its origin, unlike Denver coins with a D or San Francisco coins with an S. Philadelphia produced a very large number of pennies in 1958, making this coin relatively common. Despite its commonness, it is still collectible because it is the last wheat penny ever minted, giving it historical significance. The metal composition of the 1958 wheat penny is primarily copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc. Over time, these coins naturally darken and develop shades of brown or red-brown, especially if they were circulated or exposed to environmental factors. Scratches and minor surface imperfections are normal even in extra-fine condition, and they do not eliminate the coin's historical or collectible value. In extra-fine condition, a 1958 wheat penny without a mint mark shows only light wear on the highest points of the design. Lincoln's facial features and hair detail remain clear, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are well defined with only slight flattening. Some minor scratches may be visible, but the overall appearance of the coin is strong. Collectors value extra-fine coins for the crispness of their design and the preservation of most original details. Now let's discuss value in today's market. A 1958 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in extra-fine condition with some scratches generally sells for around 25 cents to $1. Coins with fewer scratches, more even color, and better eye appeal can fetch higher prices, while those with more noticeable wear or damage may be closer to the lower end of the range. Because this coin is the final year of the wheat penny series, it has historical appeal that makes it a desirable collectible. Color also affects value. Most circulated 1958 pennies are brown, which is common and standard for their grade. Red-brown coins are slightly more appealing to collectors and may bring a small premium. Coins in extra-fine condition with even coloring are particularly sought after because they display the original details more clearly. While scratches slightly reduce value, the coin remains collectible, especially for set completion. It is important to understand that the 1958 wheat penny without a mint mark is not rare or extremely valuable. Its significance lies in its historical context as the final year of the wheat penny series. Collectors often seek this coin to complete a full wheat penny set, and its condition helps determine its price in the market.
Next up, the 1945 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. This coin may not look rare at first glance, but it holds historical importance and still has collector interest in today's market, especially when found in very fine condition, even with some visible scratches. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in U.S. history. These pennies were produced until 1958 and are easily recognized by Lincoln's portrait on the front and two wheat stalks on the back. The 1945 wheat penny was minted during a very important time in history as World War II was coming to an end. The United States was transitioning from wartime production back to normal life, and coins from this era reflect that historical moment. A 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia pennies do not carry a letter below the date, unlike Denver coins marked with a D or San Francisco coins marked with an S. In 1945, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of wheat pennies, which makes this coin fairly common compared to earlier low mintage years. The metal composition of the 1945 wheat penny is mostly copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc. This copper alloy gives the coin its familiar reddish-brown appearance, which often darkens over time as the coin circulates. Because these pennies were widely used, many surviving examples show signs of wear, scratches, and surface marks from decades of handling. Now let's focus on condition and value. A very fine condition coin means that most of the main design details are still clearly visible. Lincoln's portrait shows noticeable wear but remains sharp. The wheat stalks on the reverse are still defined, and the date and lettering are easy to read. Some scratches are normal for a coin of this age and do not automatically destroy its collector value, as long as the coin has not been heavily damaged, bent, or harshly cleaned. In today's market, the value of a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition with some scratches is generally modest. Most examples fall within a value range of approximately 25 cents to $1. The exact price depends on eye appeal, color, and how distracting the scratches are. Coins with light, natural scratches from circulation tend to be more desirable than coins with deep gouges or cleaning marks. Color also plays a role in value. Wheat pennies are commonly classified as brown, red-brown, or red. Most circulated 1945 pennies are brown, which is the most common and least valuable color category. Red-brown coins may bring a slightly higher price, while fully red examples are usually found only in higher grades and can be worth more, but those are rare. It is important to understand that 1945 wheat pennies without mint marks are not considered rare coins. Their value does not come from rarity, but from collector interest, historical significance, and condition. Because of this, many online listings show exaggerated prices that do not reflect real sales. Actual market value is based on what collectors are willing to pay, not on asking prices.
Next up, the 1919 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, a coin that is over a century old and carries significant historical value. Even though it is not considered extremely rare, it is highly collectible, especially when found in very fine condition, even with some scratches. Coins from this era are fascinating because they provide a glimpse into everyday American life shortly after World War I. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln and continued until 1958. These coins feature Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing growth, prosperity, and the agrarian roots of the United States. The year 1919 falls into the post-World War I period, a time when the United States was transitioning into a new era economically and socially. Coins from this year were widely circulated and handled, which explains why many examples today show moderate wear and surface scratches. A 1919 wheat penny without a mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not place a mint mark below the date. Coins from Philadelphia are often more common than those from Denver or San Francisco. Despite its common origin, the 1919 penny is still a valuable addition for collectors completing wheat penny sets or seeking early 20th century coins in higher grades. The metal composition of the 1919 wheat penny is primarily copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. Over time, copper naturally develops a brown tone, especially in circulated coins. Scratches, small nicks, and minor discoloration are normal and expected for coins over 100 years old. Despite these imperfections, a coin in very fine condition retains strong design details, making it attractive to collectors. In very fine condition, a 1919 wheat penny without a mint mark shows moderate wear on Lincoln's portrait, but his facial features, jawline, and hair details are still clearly visible. The wheat stalks on the reverse are well defined, though the highest points may be slightly worn. Light scratches are common and usually result from decades of circulation. These minor imperfections do not significantly detract from the coin's collectible value.
Now, let's discuss value in today's market. A 1919 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in very fine condition with some scratches, typically sells for around $1 to $3. Coins with better eye appeal, fewer scratches, and more even coloration can command slightly higher prices, while coins with heavier wear or unattractive surfaces may sell for closer to the lower end of this range. The coin's value comes mainly from its historical significance and collector demand, rather than extreme rarity. Color plays a role in determining value. Most circulated 1919 pennies are brown, which is standard for their age and condition. Red-brown examples, which retain more of the original copper luster, may attract a small premium. Light scratches, even in very fine condition, slightly reduce the coin's value. But coins over 100 years old with clear design details are still highly sought after. It is important to understand that the 1919 wheat penny without a mint mark is not a rare coin, but its historical context makes it desirable. Many collectors are interested in coins from the early 20th century, and the 1919 penny represents a period of transition and growth in the United States. Its place in a complete wheat penny collection adds to its importance for collectors. Next up, the 1934 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark. This coin comes from an important period in U.S. history and continues to attract collectors, even when found in good condition with visible scratches from years of circulation. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln and remained in production until 1958. These pennies are easily recognized by Lincoln's portrait on the front and the two wheat ears on the back. The year 1934 falls right in the middle of the Great Depression, a difficult economic time in the United States. Coins from this era were heavily used, which explains why many surviving examples today show noticeable wear and surface marks. A 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins produced in Philadelphia do not carry a mint mark under the date, unlike Denver coins with a D or San Francisco coins with an S. The Philadelphia Mint produced a very large number of pennies in 1934, making this coin fairly common compared to earlier and scarcer wheat penny dates. The metal composition of the 1934 wheat penny is primarily copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc. Over decades of circulation, copper coins naturally darken and lose their original shine. Most 1934 pennies found today appear brown in color, especially those that have seen a lot of use. Scratches, small nicks, and worn surfaces are very common for coins of this age. When a coin is described as being in good condition, it means it has heavy wear, but the main design elements are still visible. On a 1934 wheat penny in good condition, Lincoln's portrait will be worn flat in some areas, but his outline and facial features can still be identified. The date and lettering are readable, though not sharp, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are worn but recognizable. Some scratches are expected and are considered normal for this grade. Now let's talk about value in today's market. A 1934 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition with some scratches usually has a modest value. Most examples are worth approximately 10 cents to 40 cents. Coins with slightly better eye appeal, fewer scratches, or stronger details may reach closer to 50 cents, while heavily scratched or unattractive coins may stay closer to face value. Color plays a role as well. The majority of 1934 wheat pennies are classified as brown, which is the most common and least valuable color category. Red-brown coins are less common and may bring a small premium, while fully red examples are typically found only in higher grades and can be worth several dollars. However, coins in good condition with scratches are almost always brown. It is important to understand that the 1934 wheat penny without a mint mark is not a rare coin. Its value does not come from scarcity, but from collector interest and historical significance. Many collectors enjoy completing full wheat penny date sets, and coins like the 1934 penny play an important role in those collections. Because of this steady demand, the coin maintains a small premium above face value even in lower grades. Collectors should also be aware of mint errors or unusual varieties. While rare, errors such as doubled dies or off-center strikes can increase value significantly. However, most 1934 pennies do not have these features, and scratched coins without special characteristics remain common collectibles. If you own a 1934 wheat penny in good condition, it is best to store it safely and avoid cleaning it. Cleaning a coin can remove original metal and leave harsh marks, which lowers collector value. Keeping the coin in a holder or protective sleeve helps preserve its current condition and prevents further damage. In conclusion, the 1934 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition with some scratches is generally worth only a small amount in today's market, usually well under $1. While it may not be a high-value coin, it represents an important moment in American history and remains a popular collectible. For many collectors, the real value of this coin lies in its age, history, and place within the long-running Lincoln Wheat Penny series rather than its dollar amount.